Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University School of Extension and Development Studies, SOEDS. Bachelor of Arts, BAG. Value-Added Course. BEDSV 101 Value Education. Block-4 Social Dynamics and Value Development. Unit-4 Process of Human Adjustment. 4.1 Introduction. In this last unit of Social Dynamics and Value Development, we shall discuss adjustment. We know that without adjustment there cannot be any improvement. In relationships, the rule is simple: adjustment improves a relationship and lack of adjustment worsens the relationship. It is aptly said that it takes years to nourish a relationship, and in minutes you can spoil a relationship. The choice is solely ours. Whether to adjust and keep alive the essence of life, or to fight and be in conflict and ultimately break the relationship. In this unit, let us try to study the values we need to learn as a process of adjustment, how people relate to people, how we perceive ourselves and others, how we attempt to understand values and exhibit them in a crisis, and how values are maneuvered. So let's see how values are useful for personal and social adjustment in order to experience the joys of effective living. 4.2 Objectives. Once you go through this unit, you should be able to discuss the meaning of adjustment, discuss the various factors of adjustment, explain desirable values leading to adjustment, and discuss the importance of adjustment in life. 4.3 Adjustment. Adjustment is a change in order to correct or improve the relationship. Adjustment skills are important for maintaining peace and harmony in society. According to Ruth Strang, 1949, adjustment is a process and not a state. Adjustment is continuous throughout life. From the biological point of view, adjustment would emphasize adaptation for survival, while a narrower view of it would be adaptation for need reduction. The efforts of the individual to adapt himself to the environment may be called the adjustment process. The adjustment process is affected and modified by the individual's experiences, and thus learning plays a significant part in aiding adjustment. From the cultural point of view, adjustment is assessed when an individual is accepted by his cultural group. The maladjusted individual is one who is rejected by the group because of his nonconformity to the group mores, customs, conventions, etc. Thus, adaptation involves effective adaptation. It consists in the reduction of inner needs, stresses and strains. It signifies a harmonious relationship of an individual to his environment, which affords him a comfortable life devoid of stress, conflict and frustration. 4.3.1 Adjustment and Values. The other name of life is adjustment. As members of a society, we make a lot of adjustments every day. Adjustment is usually a two-way process. The usual relationships with whom we try to adjust for a happy and comfortable living are as follows: husband-wife and vice versa, parent-child and vice versa, grandparents-grandchildren and vice versa, brother-sister and vice versa, siblings, cousins, relatives and vice versa, landlord-tenant and vice versa, employer-employee and vice versa, master-mistress-servant and vice versa, politician-citizen and vice versa, bureaucrats-public and vice versa, police-public and vice versa, teacher-taught and vice versa, doctor-patient and vice versa, professionals-non-professionals and vice versa, school management parents and vice versa, lawmakers-lawbreakers and vice versa. Others. There is no golden rule of adjustment skills, because every individual is unique and so is his/her behavior pattern. Every situation is unique, so the rule of adjustment keeps changing. What may be appropriate in one situation may not be appropriate in another. But there are ways of proper behavior which leads to good adjustment. In the previous units on socialization, social interaction and conflict, we have looked at the approved and logical behavior required to be exhibited by an individual to fit in as a member of society. Since studying the adjustment skills on the basis of relationships would be quite time-consuming, we have classified all the human beings into two broad categories on the basis of sex, such as male men to female women. Male represent all men belonging to any category and profession, and female represent all women of any status. Here we shall highlight some of the typical features of adjustable persons. Some of the values exhibited by such persons are modesty, tact, kindness, helpfulness, patience, sincerity and honesty. 4.3.2 Criteria for the process of adjustment. There are a number of criteria related to the process of adjustment, and they are as follows. Responsibility. A well-adjusted individual has the required maturity to undertake responsibility and can well understand his own feelings. He has a certain freedom of emotional expression and self-control. Sense of security. A well-adjusted student has feelings of adequacy and of being appreciated. He has comfortably adjusted his aspirations to reality in the light of his talents, social position and opportunities. He is free from anxiety, depression, worry and disturbing fears. Integration. A well-adjusted person is free from inner conflicts and is therefore in a position to concentrate his energies on his goal. Ego development. A well-adjusted person is able to work efficiently and effectively, looking realistically at the world around them. He is able to plan for the successful accomplishment of his goals. Curiosity and spontaneity. A well-adjusted person shows normal curiosity and exhibits a natural and easy spontaneity in social relationships. He learns to put his energies to constructive and socially desirable ends. He perceives the world about him as a warm, friendly place inhabited by people largely benevolent. 4.3.3 Pull factors of adjustment. The pull factors of adjustment are those factors that pull us from making any adjustment in life. There are many pull factors. Let us discuss few of them briefly. Aggression. It leads to problems in social adjustment. Aggression is behavior that results in harm to another person or his property. Aggression is a matter of value judgment, and aggressive behavior differs from community to community. It is a way of expressing frustration and usually ends in violence, which is not a good value to be cherished. The small acts of aggression result in bigger problems of adjustment. Throwing tantrums, insulting others, shouting, showing anger, physically attacking others, or just being nasty and rude to others are forms of aggression. Parents have a habit of exaggerating the virtues of their children, although they know that the child strikes his parents through temper tantrums, attack other children physically, verbally without provocation, or displays uncontrollable destructive activities. Aggressive children later transform into aggressive adults. Anger. Anger is an emotion. It occurs when things don't go our way and we all boil at different degrees. Aristotle says that anyone can become angry, that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose and in the right way is not easy. We know that aggression and anger are not acceptable forms of behavior. By aggression we cannot win friends and influence people. Aggression leads to anger, violence and cruelty. If you show violence, the same would be shown to you. Justifying your behavior for violence will do little to improve your social adjustment. Does this mean that anger and aggression can be reduced? Yes, by deliberately adapting good values one can overpower anger and aggression. The good values that are important for adjustment are called as push factors of adjustment that makes you nice and cooperative. we shall discuss some push factors in the subsection 4.3.3. Fear. We tend to adjust quickly if we sense fear. Threat induces fear, and fear has been used by some people to get other people to comply. Most of us are God-fearing persons, and we have consciously filtered this trait to present-day child-rearing practices, a means of control over others. Emotional instability is thus indicated by the presence of non-adjustive behavior, disturbances in emotional sphere, unreasoned fears, feelings of personal insecurity, and a sense of inferiority. Such behaviors accompanied with symptomatic manifestations like insomnia, lack of appetite, trembling, twitching, etc. are symbolic of mental health problems. 4.3.4 Push factors of adjustment. The push factors of adjustment are those factors which push or force us to make adjustments in life. Some of them are empathy, sympathy, humor, obedience, and chivalry. The push factors of adjustment make the person feel recognized, responsive, and secured. There are many push factors. Let us discuss few of them briefly. I. Empathy, to see and experience emotions from others' eyes. The word empathy is best defined by this phrase: it takes one to know one. To have an empathic attitude shows the process of social adjustment. 2. Sympathy. Sympathy is a powerful tool for adjustment. Humor, to adjust and laugh all problems of life, is called humor. A sense of humor makes persons happy and cheerful. We like to laugh with our family, friends, relatives, and colleagues. Laughter helps in avoiding certain personal problems, and it helps us to adjust with various problems of life. 3. Help. The willingness to express concern and care for others is a deeply ingrained humanistic value. It gives lot of satisfaction to the one showing care in many ways. Altruism is a helpful act for which nothing is expected in return. There is a saying, we must assist one another, and it is the law of nature. But do we really help one another? Have you heard of bystander apathy? Such people simply stand and watch the person suffering but do not come forward to help. It may not be true that nobody would help if someone is left bleeding by the side of the road somewhere, and sometimes people help each other out. For instance, we help by donating blood, contributing to charity, give alms to beggars, give food to poor, help a blind cross the road. The list of helping behaviors is virtually endless. Even then, we have so many bystanders apathy. Do you think helping depends on the situation at hand, upon the characteristics of the helper, or upon the characteristics of the victim? Activity I. Keep a track record of your helping behavior. Write them in numbers and keep on adding your helping behavior every year. In many instances, we tend to help those who have helped us in our need. This way we perform our responsibility by fulfilling our social obligation. Such kind of help is called reciprocal help. In emergencies, helping requires quick and decisive action, and the one who hesitates is lost. Do we think on the consequences of help? A warm glow of success can make you a more helping person. How about help extended by men to women and vice versa? Do we mean to say that chivalry is dead or alive in our country? Guilt. On number of occasions we feel guilty because of our behavior. The feeling of guilt will make a person modify his behaviors and thereby make so many adjustments. Obedience. Obedience leads to adjustment in many situations. Let us quickly learn the tips for adjustment in case we may need them in future. Knowing well that we cannot have control on others' behavior, we need to control our own behavior. Following are some useful tips for adjustment. Relax. Tools like deep breathing help calm you down. Breathe deeply from the belly. Mind your language. We need to control our language. We must try to have artificial smile if needed. Count backward, begin 20, 19, 18, it would distract you from your situation. Pinch yourself, in an aggressive moment pinch yourself. Road rage, caught in a traffic signal. Insert your favorite CD and listen to music. Carry a magazine and try flipping through it. Use a punching bag, buy a punching bag and write the name of the person you are angry with and punch away your aggression. 4.4 Adjustment Disorder. An adjustment disorder is defined as an emotional or behavioral reaction to an identifiable stressful event or change in a person's life that is considered maladaptive, or somehow not an expected healthy response to the event or change. The reaction must occur within 3 months of the event or change happening. The identifiable stressful event or change in the life of a child or adolescent may be a family move, parental divorce or separation, the loss of a pet, etc. An adjustment disorder is a debilitating reaction, usually lasting less than 6 months, to a stressful event or situation. Adjustment disorder often occurs with one of the following: anxiety, depression, mixed disturbance of emotions, conduct or problems that may be related to work, physical complaints or social isolation. Adjustment disorders are quite common in children and adolescents but occur equally in males and females. Adjustment disorder occurs in all cultures, however the underlying stressors and signs may vary, based on cultural influences. Adjustment disorders occur at all ages, however, it is generally agreed that characteristics of disorder are different in children and adolescents than they are in adults. Depressed mood, anxiety, mixed disturbance of emotions and conduct, hopelessness, frequent crying, impaired occupational social functioning, agitation, trembling or twitching, palpitations, conduct disturbances, physical complaints, withdrawal, occupational functioning is decreased, anxiety, stress, and tension. Remedy. The primary objective will be to relieve the symptoms by achieving a level of adaptation. Psychosocial treatment for this disorder includes individual psychotherapy, family therapy, behavior therapy, and self-help groups. Realistic short-term goals should be made at the start of therapy, as adjustment disorder is short-term in nature. Goals of therapy will typically center on supports available to the individual in his or her life in the form of family, friends, and community. The individual scoping skills will be explored and possibly developed, and relaxation techniques are often used to help the individual deal with feelings of stress. More specific goals of treatment will include helping the individual understand his or her role in the stressful event, or teaching ways to avoid such events in the future. 4.5 Men, Women and Values. We have preferred to talk on values displayed by men and women as they display different values towards each other. Men and women together form a family, many families join together to form a group, and several groups make a community. Communities together make society, societies together make a nation. Thus, from to separate individuals Adam and Eve, men and women, the world was formed. The book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus by John Gray beautifully throws light on adjustment each sex has to make towards the other, thereby understanding one's partner, colleagues and friends better than ever before. We are aware that men and women have different appearances, different preferences, and different lifestyles. Some of these differences are anatomical and others are attributed by culture. Do you strongly believe that men and women differ in their values, attitudes and behavior? If you believe in male chauvinist or Aunt Jemina, then probably you are right. Male chauvinist. This phrase is derived after the name of Nicolas Chauvin, a French soldier and follower of Napoleon. Chauvin believed that French were all-powerful. Male chauvinists refer to the belief that women are inferior to men. Both the photographs depicting male chauvinists are accessed from www.photosearch.com. Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima refers to the term oppressed female counter poet of Uncle Tom. The trademark of Aunt Jemima mirrored America's changing perceptions of African American women. The idea of Aunt Jemima was first conceived by newspaperman and entrepreneur Chris Rutt, according to the Afro-American Almanac. A tune called Aunt Jemima. The term Aunt Jemima is sometimes used colloquially as a female version of the derogatory label Uncle Tom. In this context, the slang term Aunt Jemima falls within the mammy archetype and refers to a friendly black woman who is perceived as obsequiously servile or acting in or protective of the interests of whites. Aunt Jemima is frequently pronounced as Auticha Mama, slang for am is not your mother, in popular discourse. The real difference is not the existence of sex differences. What is really at stake is to know to what extent such differences are inculcated into our value system by the society in which we live. The answer is that we are exposed to this difference from birth to maturity till death. Read the box carefully. Source: http www.google.co. In the photograph is accessed from www.com dated 9th March 2011. Little girls should play with dolls, wear pretty dresses, and act quietly around the house. When they grow up, they should love children, be susceptible to flattery, and above all be understanding. After all, that is what being a woman all is about. Boys, on the other hand, should play with footballs and frogs and engage in rough and tumble play. When they grow up, they should be competitive, forceful, and make instant decision. If a little boy enjoys girlish activities, he is a sissy, most likely to turn into a fag, while his female counterpart is a tomboy, most likely to become a dyke. From the box, can you draw the stereotype traits for male and females? Few of them are listed below. Masculine traits: aggressive, ambitious, analytical, dominant, decision maker. Masculine. Feminine traits: cheerful, childlike, gentle, shy, soft-spoken. Can you add the list? Activity 2. Think of your own life. Recall an instance where your behavior was influenced by sex-defined role. These traits may sound funny or absurd. It is, nevertheless, the essence of a commonly advocated solution for better adjustment. This does not imply that we are dividing the world into male and female subsections. This simply means that to have good adjustment, a man and a woman should have equal status in the house. They should not be viewed from the camera of stereotyped sex roles. The attitudes towards sex lead to many adjustment problems. As a member of the society, we make several types of adjustment, like emotional, psychological adjustment, social, cultural, economic, and political adjustment. Whatever may be the type of adjustment, just remember the thumb rule of life. Treat others in the manner you want to be treated by them. 4.6 Maladjustment and values. In this section, let us study the typical features of maladjusted persons. The behavior of such people is as follows. Clothing: dress inappropriately to occasion. Unpressed clothes. Dirty shoes. Unfit cloths, hung clothes. Unmatched clothes. Dirty shorts. Cleanliness: dirty hair, dirty elbow. Unwashed face, irregular in bath. Dirty hands. Appearance: unbrushed hair, untrimmed fingernails. Inappropriate hairstyle, bitten fingernails. No lipstick. Physical posture, head down shuffling. Bent back, heavy walk. Stomach out, sprawls. Verbal behaviors, screams, talk to self. Giggles, vulgar comments. Social behaviors, touches others, nose picking. Inappropriate gestures, eating betel leaf. Chewing gum. 4.7 Strategies to help maladjusted children. Children who are maladjusted lack the social skills necessary to interact effectively with peers and engage in healthy, cooperative activities. While maladjustment is not something that can be rectified overnight, with help, maladjusted children can operate as effective members of society. By assisting a maladjusted child in navigating the complex web of social relationships, you can help prepare the pupil for future interactions with others. Maladjustment can be spurred by a number of things, so if the student's problems stems from an issue within the home, you must report this to social services, as you are a mandated reporter. By engaging in regular communication, the child can begin to learn the principles of socialization. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes daily and devote this time to making small talk with the child. Take the child to places where he can interact with peers in play. Visit popular parks or other recreation areas in which children commonly play. Encourage the child to engage in play with his peers. Introduce the child to kind and helpful same-age peers. Some children are particularly adept at working with peers who struggle. If you know of a conscientious and polite child, ask this child to buddy up with the maladjusted child and engage in conversation or participate in play. Discuss misbehavior with the child. It is not effective to merely punish the child for misbehavior. In place of punishment, have a conversation with the child. Explain to him why what he did was wrong, so she can better understand why she shouldn't repeat the behavior. Help the child create a list of alternatives to misbehavior. If the maladjusted child continually exhibits the same behavior, he may be doing so because he does not know an alternative. If, for example, the child pushes his peers down and takes their toys when he wants to play with them, help discover alternatives to this destructive behavior by listing options. Tell him that he could ask the peers to share, he could wait his turn, and so forth. As the child learns these alternatives, he may be more likely to use them in the future. The assessment and systematic teaching of social skills through modeling, discussion, and rehearsals are helpful to students for increasing control over their behavior and improve their relations with others. In addition, supportive therapies involving music, art, exercise, and relaxation techniques, as well as effective education, individual, and group counseling are sometimes employed to improve self-understanding, self-esteem, and self-control. 4.8 Lesson on Life. The inspirational story of a glass jar symbolizes our own skills of adjustment. Please go through the story and analyze it. The reflection is true and realistic. 4.8. One inspirational story. A professor of philosophy entered the classroom and told the students, "Today I will teach you important lessons of life and adjustment." He brought a jar made of earthenware. He started putting table tennis balls in that jar till it was full. He asked his students whether the jar was full and the reply was yes. Now he took out another bag and this bag was full of pebbles. Slowly the professor started pouring the pebbles in that jar, and in between he was shaking it so that the pebbles could adjust in the jar which was already full of tennis balls. Now the professor again asked the students whether the jar was full and the students replied in the affirmative. The jar was really full with balls and pebbles. The professor now had another bag which was full of sand. He started pouring the sand in the already Filled jar of balls and pebbles. The sand also got settled well in the jar. Now the professor asked the students whether the jar was full. The students again replied, yes. Then the professor brought 2 cups of tea and poured the tea into the jar. The tea was also adjusted in that jar. This time the professor was serious. He firmly told the stud-summarians that human life is like this jar. There should be space for adjustment. Try to adjust well in life. Tennis balls symbolize our socialization. Pebbles symbolize our interaction. Sands symbolize our conflict. Tea symbolize our adjustment. If we do the reverse filling in the jar, first the tea would be followed by sand, pebbles, and lastly tennis balls. Perhaps nothing will adjust in the jar. Always have scope for tea. The message is to thus have scope for adjustment. 4.9 Summary. Good and fruitful relationships are based on good values learned and practiced. In the long run, values give you long-lasting success, pleasure. The push factors, as discussed in the unit, helps us to make good adjustments in life, and the pull factors, as discussed in the unit, literally pulls us to make adjustment with others. The values learned as part of socialization, the value-loaded interactions, the conflict resolution methods, and the values of adjustment all contribute to the making of a good human being. Good values practiced by an individual give stability to his personal life, social life, cultural life, service life, relationship, and in long run contributes to the making of a harmonious and peaceful society. In UNESCO preamble it is rightly said, since the wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed. Thus it is we as human beings who are entrusted with the responsibility of creating a just world, a place with moral standards, good codes of conduct, good values to inculcate and imbibe among us. The dynamics of human behavior is always in motion. But one thing that remains constant and static is good behavior and values to cherish and practice. There is always a positive way to do everything. Elmer G. Letterman rightly says, personality can open doors, but only character can keep them open. Thank you for listening. We will be back with next chapter.